Good morning, church. Standing before you today is a pulchritudinous, polished product of the PPS initiative. Yes, people of God, my name is Loapi Mokhunthedi, and I stand before you blessed as a sparkling, shining, and dazzling PPS diamond. So, people of God, in my introduction, I use the word pulchritudinous, and this word translates to breathtaking beauty. But this word I use not to describe myself, but to describe the jewel that the Lord has made in me. Yes, people of God, as we all know, diamonds are not always they don't just come beautiful, people of God. They must first be brought up from the ground beneath our feet. And indeed, in the same way, it describes how I was performing back in my primary school. In my primary school, people of God, I had a poor academic performance, below average, people of God, attaining C's and D's, people of God, and more often than not, I would be among the lowest, not only in my class, but in the entire grade, people of God. And this was a result of me never concentrating in class, people of God, because I would always be thinking in class, saying, excited to go home to continue watching cartoons or to go home and play video games and the such, people of God. And as a result, my academics deteriorated. I was really a child that loved games, loved cartoons, and would always be excited to go home and watch, people of God. And even at home, I would often always give my attention to the TV and the such things, people of God, meaning that I would never have time to do my homework, and I would never submit it on time. And on the rare occasions that I did submit it on time, it was untidy, in which teachers would give comments saying that my work is always untidy, people of God. And as a result of all this, people of God, I would often be promoted on probation, which basically means that I'm going to be promoted, but the teachers would look at my academic performance. And if I perform below the expected standard, I am going to be demoted back to the previous grade. And this was just a cycle of me being promoted on probation from standard 1 all the way until standard 6, people of God. And when I reached my standard 6, this is where things took a drastic turn for me, because now, looking at my performance, the school had decided that to insist that I'm to repeat my standard 6, people of God. And in response to this, my parents went to the school to make a plea and asked them that I can be moved to standard 7 and promised that they would do everything in their power to make me improve and do better in my academics. And by the grace of God alone, the school had allowed it. I was able to move into my standard 7. However, people of God, when I had this, when I saw that my parents had done this for me, I took it upon myself to tell myself that now I need to get serious in my schoolwork, concentrate more in my school and the such. But people of God, this was to no avail, because it didn't take any time for me to go back to my old habits of living for the cartoons and living for those things, people of God, instead of living for my academics. And as a result, my grades were stagnant in the C's and D's, even approaching my PSLE examinations, people of God. And it was at this point where it was like all hope was lost, the curtains are to be drawn, the end credits are to be rolled, that I may just write my PSLE examinations and go with my poor mark. However, people of God, by the grace of God, I was introduced to the PPS initiative by my parents. And people of God, they would show me the videos and encourage me to listen to the testimonies and pray that the same grace that fell upon them may fall upon me as well. And more especially, the thing that helped the most was the teachings of the men of God. I would listen to those teachings, and it's just something indescribable, people of God, inside me. I just saw this thing and the teachings, and I just told myself that, wow, this is the solution I've been needing. So people of God, I did so. And the teaching that I really needed the most was divert your attention from where it has always been to your academics. So I did so. I diverted my attention from where it has always been, from the cartoons, from the video games and the such, to my academics, people of God. And by the grace of God, my grades started to peak. I was even asking myself, subjects like agriculture, which I would always struggle with, 40%, 50%, is where I was stagnant. But then when I got there, when I started this newfound PPS momentum, this newfound PPS fire in my heart, I started to attain my 78, 88, people of God, and I was so shocked with myself, people of God. And then, people of God, we continue into my standard 7, approaching my PSLE, people of God. With this newfound PPS momentum, I was really encouraged and really motivated that no, this PSLE, I can do it. These D's and C's that I used to perform in, I can do away with them and now get my B's and my A stars, people of God. But then, people of God, as I had written my PSLE, I would make sure to always, the night before the exam, always pray with the candle, with the crossover candle, 2019 to 2020, and also always carry the living sticker. I was blessed to acquire a living sticker. I would always carry it into the exam room, and by the grace of God, I managed to attain a grade B in my PSLE examinations. Now, as we continue into my high school life, people of God, I had really seen God in this initiative. I had really seen that God is truly in this church. And I continue to follow the PPS teachings and to be a part of the PPS initiative, people of God. And I continued in this way, making sure that the one thing that I never lose, the one thing that never falters in my life is my character, people of God. That's the one thing I made sure to keep close to my heart. And by virtue of doing all these things, people of God, I had managed to attain my first ever 2 academic certificates of excellence, all to the glory of God. Yes, people of God. Now, people of God, as we move into my Form 3, Form 3 is where we were to write our pre-mock examinations. And these examinations were not like any other end-of-year exams we'd write in Form 1 and Form 2. Because if I may explain, Form 1 and my Form 2 were basically the basics of the syllabus, of the curriculum we were doing, people of God. We were doing the basics, and it was not hard. But now, as we are moving into Form 3, we are entering into the more advanced topics, the more serious topics, people of God, that needed more concentration. And the papers we are going to write, for example, if a maths paper in Form 2 is out of 100, now in my Form 3, the paper is going to be out of 130. So these exams needed more effort, more of my concentration. However, people of God, I regret to inform you that I did not put this concentration and this effort in, because I forgot to mention that in primary school, I came from a place of rejection. I didn't have many friends, and as a result now, when I got into my high school, that's when I began making friends. That's when I began, to enjoy my school life. And it was difficult for me because the man of God had once preached in a PPS meeting saying that why should you try and maintain a friendship with someone who you are not even going to know in the next 5 years? But then, people of God, when I had this, in my mind as a child, I was like, but I was trying to exclude myself, people of God. Little did I know that, the teachings of the man of God do not discriminate. They are for everyone. So, people of God, I did this, and I would often be an unproductive cause during the exams, people of God. During exam, I'd be on calls. And the biggest mistake I've ever made, people of God, was beginning to date during my pre-mock examinations. And as a result, my academics deteriorated. I dropped from being an A student, a B student in Form 1 and Form 2, to attaining a C of 36 points in my pre-mock examinations. And people of God, when I had attained this, it was really disappointing for me, because I was worried. I thought for now I'm going back to that Loapi before he met man of God Prophet Cedric, before he met the PPS initiative. I was so worried that I was going to go back to that Loapi that I was always failing. And this was more especially worrisome because it was now Form 4 where we were going to write our finals. So then I took it upon myself to say, no, let me now go back to the Loapi I was. Let me go back to studying and try and do away with these things, people of God, with friends and distractions. So then, people of God, as I got into my Form 4, my Term 1, people of God, I had attained a grade C, people of God, because I had made the mistake of relying on my own efforts instead of the teachings of the PPS, and instead of relying on God to be my anchor, to be my help, to be my foundation. I relied on my own efforts, and as a result, Term 1, I got a C. And this was really worrisome, people of God, because now, Term 2, we are going to write our mock examinations, and then like Term 3, where it was going to be the finals. And the distance between mock examination and final is just 1 month. So now this was very worrisome, people of God. So now we got to the point where we were writing our mock examinations. And it was the beginning of the mock examinations, actually, people of God, where I wrote my we wrote our first mock exam, and God having mercy upon me, God having grace, the mercy that moves from everlasting to everlasting, the grace, people of God, of this church. There was an announcement that there was going to be a PPS meeting on the following weekend after I'd written my first mock examination. So people of God, I came and I attended this meeting, and on the screen was projected testimonies, very inspiring, faith-building testimonies that I would watch and listen to wholeheartedly, as well as previous teachings of the man of God. And people of God, this was really, really motivating because, to be specific, there was this one subject, people of God. It was the subject that I performed the lowest in amongst all my other subjects, even lower than Setswana, people of God. It was physics. Physics was something which I would get straight 40s in, people of God. I was an E student in physics. And now I was asking myself, because there were two options. It was either you had to pick core physics, which means that you write an easier paper, but the highest grade you can attain is a C. Or you do extended, which means it's going to be the entire syllabus, so it's going to be a harder paper, but the highest thing you can attain is an A star. So people of God, I was really conflicted, asking myself, what should I do? Should I just give up on physics and try and focus and boost other things? Or should I, that was the question that I had purposed in my heart. So then people of God, projected on the screen was the message, cast your net again. People of God, I listened to this message of the man of God telling us that there can be subjects which you can be struggling with, saying that it's over, no matter what I do, it won't work for me. Just like the fishermen before they met Jesus, who tried to cast nets and they couldn't catch any fish. But then when Jesus entered the scene, they caught so much fish that it even broke the net that they were carrying. After this message, people of God, there was a fire that ignited in my heart. There was something in my eyes. There was determination, newborn determination that I didn't know, that really told me that no, I can do it. And that really discouraged me. Like, it made those things that I used to do, hanging out with, prioritizing friends over academics and dating and stuff, it made them seem like not interesting anymore. Even to some point, irritated me. So people of God, when I heard this message, it really encouraged me and it really shifted me and turned me and brought a fire in me. In my Form 3 exams, I attained a total of 36 points, consisting of C's and D's. When I was writing my mock examinations, people of God, after hearing the teachings of the men of God and attending the PPS meetings, it really brought up a propulsion, people of God. I was really propelled. And I propelled from that 36 points to attaining a 40 points in my mock examinations, all to the glory of God. Yes, people of God. And this 36 points, of course, yes, it was better than this 40 points, this new 40 points. Of course, it was better than my 36 points. But I told myself, no, better is not good enough. Still, the best is yet to come, people of God. So then I continued with this momentum, this newly found momentum, this fire in my heart, approaching my finals, my IGCSE examinations, people of God, of which, when I wrote them, I would always make sure to go in the exam room with the hooding, like having applied the staff. People of God, to those who may not know, the staff is a anointed perfume that has been graced by God to us, and I would always apply it on myself so that I can remind myself that truly God is there with me. So yes, people of God, I continued in this way, and by the grace of God, as I continued in this momentum, I managed, by the grace of God, to attain a 46 out of 48 points, all to the glory of God. Yes, people of God. When I don't even know how to describe the way I can thank God for those 46 points, people of God, because I was propelled, because God really pushed me and brought me up from my 40 points to getting a 46 points, people of God, which is an overall of A, people of God. And I'm so grateful to God for this. When there was the crossover, people of God, the man of God gave us the prayer requests papers, people of God, where we would write our prayer requests. And people of God, I wrote in that prayer request and pleaded to God that I can get a total of 46 out of 48 points. And by the grace of God, He did it for me, people of God. I attained my 46 out of 48 points, which I had prayed for. Yes, people of God, this is my Form 2. My Form 2, my physics. As you can see, there was only one test which I managed to pass. Then the rest was 40%, 50, 50, 60, 40. Just like that, people of God. And it was the lowest average in my whole thing. Because even Setswana, I got 68, but physics, I couldn't even manage to push it past 55. So then, people of God, now we continue into my Form 3. These are my pre-mock examinations, people of God, of which I attained D's 60, 60, 60, 60, 50, and 79, which made a total of 36 points, people of God. And physics was still poor. There's even a 30% here in my physics, in one of these tests. Continuing to be poor, people of God. So then, people of God, now this is my mock examination, people of God. Here's my mock examination, where I had increased from the 36 points to getting 40 points. There are 60, yes, people of God, consisting of 4 B's and 2 C's, which is the 40 points here, people of God. And physics was still poor, it was still a C. So now, people of God, this is where God's glory was really shown. Because now, physics, moving from the lowest average of everything that I had ever written to becoming the highest attained mark, more than 86%. Yes, people of God. So then, this 46 points consist of 4 A's, 2 B's, 1 C, and 1 D, all to the glory of God. So then, people of God, these are my first ever academic certificates of excellence that I had received. Gaborone International School awards this certificate to Loapi Mokhunthedi for outstanding performance in Form 1, 2021. And the same here for Form 2, 2022. And yes, people of God, here's the final document here. And this one really means a lot to me because at the school, they would use the mock results to determine or to give predictions of who the top achievers are going to be. And I wasn't selected. They didn't think that I could do it. They didn't predict that I would make it on the top achievers list. But I purposed it in my heart and I told myself that no, these people, they're going to call my parents and they're going to call me to take a top achievers picture. And here I am, people of God, on the top achievers, top 50 of my school. So then, people of God, as an additional testimony, people of God, this was the tie I was awarded for becoming and being granted the chance and ability to be a senior prefect in my high school, people of God. And my speech, the speech I gave, was the only speech among all the people who gave the speech to get a standing ovation from the judges. All to the glory of God. My word of encouragement to the aspiring PPS diamonds in the rough sitting to here today is to say that the journey to success, this journey of being a PPS diamond is not, you can find it that it won't be fun, people of God, because there are going to be times when your friends are going to be chatting, having fun during break time and playing games and stuff, but you are going to be in class reading your books, studying and meditating on the word, people of God. You are going to be mocked, people of God, because of your academic performances when you don't perform well. But then, people of God, if you can just continue and have faith in God, follow the teachings of the man of God and obey, then surely the results are just going to be so wonderful, people of God.